situations, they would trust you to be a general manager, give you the autonomy to make the decisions, but in some senses would not support you because they'd overrule you on what you could do and what you couldn't do. And I feel that the consultants looked at it and said, you must drive it with local programming, draw from the national, and have some money to promote it, and also have some control over the expenses. Expenses in Toronto and advertising in that market really didn't benefit us here in the Western Canadian market.
Well now, John, I think really that you have, you've been very kind to them in a way, because in a minute, I'm going to say some of the things that I discovered, well, I knew I had to live with, how CKO ran this operation, which I think was just terrible. You've been too kind to them, but we'll get into that right after the break.
Of 5 leading microwave oven brands, all of them recommend you turn the food or it won't cook properly. Only Panasonic gives you even, thorough cooking by doing the turning for you. Panasonic's new color enhancement light is so compact, it fits in your pocket. And so easy to use, it plugs right into your camcorder. It's a bright idea.
This year, you can bring someone special home for Christmas. McDonald's presents Muppet Babies. Baby Kermit, Baby Fozzie Bear, and Baby Miss Piggy. A different one every week while supplies last. $2.69 each, and with every purchase, you're donating 50 cents to Ronald McDonald Children's Charities. Muppet Baby plush toys for a limited time at participating McDonald's.
Good time, great taste of McDonald's.
The sky is the limit with Ritz. So flaky, so light, and it's just so socially inviting, so topically exciting. Make Ritz your own original hit, 'cause the sky's the limit with Ritz. Ritz it up.
What you're about to see is a true story. The inside story of Huggies leakage protection. The hero of the story is the blue middle layer, which draws liquid down into the middle of the diaper and holds it there. Only Huggies has the blue middle layer to help stop leaking. And babies love how Huggies' elastic waist and legs work together to keep liquid in, keeping them dry, inside and out. So, like all Huggies stories, this one has a happy ending.
We're Canada Life, the first Canadian life insurance company. We opened our files first in 1847, and for over 140 years, we've made it our business to ensure that your money is safe with us. With a wide range of smart investment and financial services, we help put you in control of your growing finances. You work hard for your money. Our job is to make your money work hard for you. Canada Life.
I've been dreaming of this special evening. I found the man of my dreams when I found you. And when I surrendered to a tasty kiss or two. Ooh, you
Martini and Rossi Asti.
Yes, you do.
4 sparkling moments.
And we're back with the man who was general manager for all the 14 months that I was there, until about 5 minutes, so to speak, before the bomb hit CKO, John Marshall. John, as I said before the break, I thought you were a little easy on CKO. I thought they had the world's worst operation. By that I mean the world's worst people in control of it. I remember shortly after I joined CKO, on October 17th, I remember the date, 1988. About 3 weeks later, you worked, you were the one who got me there. You were the one who convinced Toronto to add Edmonton and Calgary to a Western network. That would be about 3 weeks later. About 2 weeks after they joined us, one night, I was conscious of the fact that there hadn't been a Vancouver telephone call for about 20 minutes, from about 10 after 7 to 7:30. During a break, commercial break, I said to our operator, I said, look, we haven't had a call from Vancouver for over 20 minutes, something wrong with the lines. He called the engineer at home, and the engineer said, my God, something wrong here. He called Bell Telephone, or BC Telephone, rather, and sure enough, what was wrong? CKO hadn't paid the phone bill. They had cut the phone. How are you going to run an open line show with no telephone? Now, fortunately, it was the Vancouver line that was cut, not the 1-800 line that was cut, so Edmonton and Calgary could still reach me. But nobody from Vancouver could, because CKO Toronto had not paid our phone bill. That's inexcusable.
Well, Pat, if you remember, when...
just a minute, John. Yes, you people, you may want to get in this action, too. So the number to call is 280-2588. 280-2588. And yes, we'll go to the lines in a minute. Yes, John, go ahead.
Well, I remember the Easter weekend was the weekend that we were not only going to take it from Vancouver to Calgary and Edmonton, but to take it across the entire network. We phoned the local telephone company, and they suggested that it would take somewhere between 8 and 10 working days. And if you remember, I made a few phone calls to some friends at BC Tel, and we had the 1-800 number hooked up over the weekend so that you were ready to roll on Monday night. Now, this wasn't done with mirrors. We basically asked them to help us. But again, we were in the local market. We could get things done, but they just assumed that things were going to happen. And yeah, maybe I have been a little too kind, but probably what you're saying is they just assumed things would happen.
Well, with all the things that happened coming out of Toronto, everything was Toronto, Toronto, Toronto. They really do think they are the center of the universe. And I now, having spent a 14-month stint with CKO, I now realize what the 3 zeros are in the name Toronto. It represents, at least in some cases, the level of intellect of the people who run things. It was just awful. For example, imagine having an election. What is the point to having affiliates if you don't use them when the story is breaking in that area? For example, did NBC, CBS, ABC, did they go to dispatch people from New York to San Francisco when the earthquake hit? Not at all. They had their affiliates do it. When we had the general election in November 1988, the federal election, did they let CKO Vancouver or CKO Edmonton or CKO Calgary handle it? No. They sent 2 guys out from Toronto to handle the election here in British Columbia. Now, that's dumb. It costs thousands of dollars in airfare, hotels, taxis, food. And what do they know about this market? That is dumb, dumb, dumb.
Well, maybe, Pat, you hit it right on the head. They really didn't understand their markets and understand what was going on in those markets. I mean, I can remember that same scenario. There were 2 people from News Radio out here and our own local reporters all covering the same event at the same time. Again, a duplication of effort.
There were so many things. For example, I'll just repeat that telephone number again because I'm sure some of the people want to get in on the action. It was as big a shock to me as it was to anyone, although people probably don't believe that, but it was. 280-2588. We'll take your calls right now. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Pat.
Hi.
Hi, welcome back to the land that appreciates and loves you, and where we call British Columbia, and not Columbia and Britannique.
Or Colombie Canadienne.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Oh, yes. And I used to tell them in Quebec, I used to say on the hotline, CKG Montreal, 3 rivers. And they used to call in, it's not 3 rivers, it's Trois-Rivières, which it is, Trois-Rivières. But I said, when you start calling my province British Columbia instead of Colombie-Britannique or Colombie-Canadienne, then I'll call 3 rivers by its proper name, Trois-Rivières.
Well, I grew up with my mom listening to you in the kitchen, and I guess you just got under my skin because I still like listening to you.
You have eminent good taste, my dear. Thank you for calling.
Okay.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes, Pat. Great to see you on the tube. It's a pleasant change from a guy who's a little milquetoast sometimes that's usually in that spot.
No. Don't say that about Dave. He's a good friend of mine. Has been for years, and I'll tell you a little secret. I got Dave into broadcasting.
Well, great. Listen, regarding CKO, I tell you, I listen to 2 or 3 Vancouver radio stations intermittently, but almost every day. I read both local newspapers every day, and I read an American paper every day. I read 2 or 3 magazines a week. I like to watch news and everything else, and you know, I like to consider myself fairly informed. And the first time I ever heard of CKO was the day they went off the air and it hit the papers that were off the air. I didn't even know that such a station existed.
This is the point I've been making to John, which he well knows. This poor guy had to fight and did fight. We got along like gangbusters. In fact, all the staff did at CKO. And John was in there punching all the way. He was the one that not forced, but had to twist their arm to get us there. He said, look, this guy has just left CJOR. CJOR closed up. And he showed them the ratings where CJOR was, I hate to say it, and also ran 7th, 8th in the market from 5 a.m. when the ratings start all the way up till 6 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock, who took over the night? I did. And he showed them those ratings. He finally convinced them. But, you know, he fought tooth and nail for everything. His ideas were great. We all agreed. But Toronto runs the whole show.
Well, Pat, maybe you should try 2 o'clock afternoons on local television, and I think we'd like to have you here. But
thanks for calling. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Pat.
Yeah.
I was a fairly regular listener of CKO, and I really missed it when it went off the air. One thing I'd like to say is one criticism I had of the station, perhaps, was some of the programming. I thought maybe it could have been more diversified, improved. That's all I have to say. And I'm a fan of talk radio, and I really missed it. That's all. Thank you.
Well, yeah. Okay, thanks for calling, caller. But he has to recognize that, again, it was Toronto. You didn't have total control.
Well, Pat, you could turn around and you could hear news in the morning that was basically 3 hours late that we would have already had on a local basis in our local newspapers, and people would become accustomed to hearing news that was of importance. And all of a sudden, if you had a misfeed, you'd hear about traffic on the 401 in Toronto. Excuse me, that doesn't really relate. Doesn't really relate to the Vancouver market, and I think that's a major problem there.
We had no presence in this market. The 6 o'clock news at night, the 7 o'clock news at night, the 8 o'clock, the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all out of Toronto. Not a thing about British Columbia. People do want to know something that's going on in their own city and their own province. If Lionsgate Bridge had fallen down or the Hotel Vancouver caught fire, people, 10, 15 minutes before the news hour, other stations would have been right on the scene, breaking into programs. Listen, you never know the bridge had fallen down if you were listening to CKO or the Hotel Vancouver was on fire, because it all came out of Toronto and they simply didn't know. And we'll discuss more about that terrible situation and go to the lines right after this break.
Consumers, when you know what you want,
Pick it out, pick it up.
pick it up at Consumers.
Pick it out, pick it up.
Capture your memories with Kodak's complete focus-free camera kit, exclusive to Consumers.
Pick it out, pick it up.
Or get Scattergories from Milton Bradley. See how many categories can be matched.
Pick it out, pick it up.
Consumers Distributor.
At London Drugs, we knock down high prices. You'll love the way we do it. Proctor Silex Automatic Drip 12-cup coffee maker, now $22.88. Proctor Silex Hot Air Popcorn Pumper, only $18.88. Sony VHS T-160 Videotape after coupon, just $4.98. Sony UX 100-minute audio tape after coupon, a low $1.98. And pick up your great gift ideas Christmas catalog now at London Drugs.
You'll love the way we do it at London Drugs.
Okay, I know my gifts are in the closet, but Debbie told me to wait till Christmas, and wait is what I'm gonna do. So why am I walking toward the closet? Well, I'll just walk away. Uh-oh, hands on the doorknob. No problem, I'll just remove it. That doesn't seem to be working. Well, there's only one solution.
Don't even think about it.
She's right, again.
Get a great surprise at Black's. The One Touch. Nikon quality at a super value from Black's.
Black's is photography.
What did I tell you?
What?
Denise Quartz, purchasing agent. Condition, headache.
Here it's a concentrated pain, but to the back it's throbbing.
Why haven't you tried Tylenol?
I don't think it would work as well as the brand that I'm presently using.
Clinical studies prove Tylenol has the strength to deliver really effective relief, yet it won't upset your stomach. How do you feel?
Tylenol got rid of the headache. The next time I have a headache, I will try Tylenol. I will buy it.
And for sinus headache, try Tylenol sinus medication for effective relief.